I want you to imagine a world where plastic pollution becomes a topic of the past. A world where an environment can fully thrive in itself, as well as industries taking full responsibility and ownership for the products that they produce, as well as the proper waste disposal of those certain plastics. This all can become a reality utilizing the extended producer responsibility policy and implementing and enforcing it in these industries can allow for a opportunity to find and effectively have a sustainable approach towards reducing the plastic pollution. Understanding the effects that this policy has, as well as what caused and motivated the development of this policy, can fully allow us as an audience to understand what this policy truly has to offer, as well as acknowledging its drawbacks to fully understand and fully later on implement new certain aspects to be able to upgrade the effects of this policy. To understand fully, we must go back and understand the catalyst towards developing this policy. So, as we know, plastic pollution is obviously rooted from the material known as plastic. It is one of the materials that is utilized in daily living, utilized in the packaging and preservation of food. It is also utilized in even in our phones. It is utilized for daily living. However, despite being a blessing, as most of us may see it, it is also has negative drawbacks that can cause this material to be considered as a double-edged sword. As us as a society have grown a strong dependence on this material, that through bad human habit, this material has been improperly disposed of constantly and repeatedly, that the pollution of it has caused plastic to be released into environments such as marine environments and even terrestrial environments, where it negatively affects the ecosystem and and as a result, through the effects of the ecosystem, it also affects human health. According to Hughes, plastic takes about 20 to 500 years to fully degrade. This is a long time. In the degradation process, hydrocarbons that are utilized to be able to chemically create plastic are later on released into the environment, most commonly in marine environments. So imagine a plastic water bottle being thrown into the marine environment, and years later, as it's slowly degrading, it's releasing all these hydrocarbons that are later on absorbed by, we could say, fish. This fish is later on consumed by another person, and later on, that person is later on posed at risk for certain health um, risks, such as endocrine diseases and even cancerous diseases. So, understanding the full negative effects that this material has and how it goes full on circle towards affecting humans, it is vital to acknowledge that this problem needs to be addressed. And this policy does just that. The extended producer responsibility policy can be defined as a policy that basically enforces industries to take on the responsibility, as well as take ownership in fully and properly disposing of the materials that utilize plastic that they produce. Once that expiration date comes, they are able to effectively and sustainably take care of the waste that certain plastic produces. This policy has mostly been implemented in European countries, as according to Brenda et al., Germany has implemented this EPR policy, and through the EPR policy, it has also motivated other programs known as the Green Dot Project that has shown that in 2019, 94% of packaging that has been developed from plastic has been collected, and almost 71% of it was being able to be recycled. This is a large number compared to past and previous data, as plastic and recycling is able to be more motivated in that certain community, and later on to create more sustainable approaches towards reducing plastic pollution. And not only that, But the extended producer responsibility policy not only focuses on industries, but it also has other types of ways to be able to motivate industries to try and implement this policy within them. So, one of the policies and programs that the extended producer responsibility kind of has an umbrella in is known as PRN, known as the Packaging Recycling Note. Through this classification, it allows industries to fully understand from a scale of 1 to 7 on what material they are producing, and then you later on use this classification to determine how this material can properly be disposed of, further encouraging sustainable and proper waste management. And not only that, but however, the extended producer responsibility policy also has some drawbacks, as it can only work in certain countries if it's properly organized. So, as seen in a certain study by Gupta and Dalta, industries in India that have tried and attempted to implement the extended producer responsibility have shown not much of a effect at all, as due to the unbeneficial properties and aspects that they offer to their workers, it also has a lack of further motivation and even unreliable data to be able to sustain on how much waste that certain industry has and how much waste have they properly recycled. Compared to European countries have most of that organization as well as more financial and even health benefits for their employees that implement and motivate like a more organized way of fully tracking how much waste and is recycled and how much waste is later on reused. And also, one of the negative aspects is that despite the extended producer responsibility policy being having a noble motivation and a basic high initiative towards taking on the the problem of plastic pollution, it has kind of a vague condition, as it doesn't fully regulate properly what type of plastics and what type of materials are considered to fall under this policy, which has led to some states, even in the United States, to implement it, some others to not implement it. And due to this, it has also kind of discouraged the implementation of this policy. However, I feel that through understanding and taking on these certain problems and certain issues, and later on revising it, it can upgrade the policy and fully use it to its proper potential. So instead of trying to kind of have an independent type of industry to be able to have its own type of recycling methods, I feel like it's important to take action to be able to enforce an extended producer responsibility, as we have seen the benefits that in European countries have had an increase in recycling, and we can implement that too in the United States if this policy was further enforced through its benefits and acknowledging its drawbacks. So I enforce you to take action to not only research more about this policy, but also to try and implement it and take on more legalized actions to make plastic pollution a thing of the past. Thank you for listening to my speech.